Welcome back to Local Garden Queens. In the Brooklyn garden today. Gonna do end of June tour. Summer solstice has passed us and the temperatures have been warm to hot every day now. So the summer plants are growing fast. Let me show you. We start here in the corner of the house. This is 3 celery plants that were planted. They're doing pretty good in here. I think they're getting some shade in the afternoon. Carrot plant flowering. Along the house are eggplants and Malabar spinach. So as always, let me take you along the house first. There's a combination of, not sure what the name of this is. I'll just call it a weed. Plenty of mint, rose bush that's done flowering. And somewhere in here is a green onion that's developing seeds. So this first bed here, this was mainly the pepper bed, and most of the peppers have died, unfortunately. Something ate them, they didn't make it. So let's take a closer look in here to see what did make it, which is a whole bunch of basils that were planted out. Here. They kind of took the space of the pepper plants. There's one pepper left over, which looks pretty healthy. It's probably gonna make it, it's probably gonna produce, but that's really it. It's kind of a herb bed, really. And also a lone tomato plant was transplanted here. And like all over the garden, there are carrots, which are flowering pretty much everywhere. So the bed over, this was the kale bed, and the flowering stage is done, obviously, and the seeds are ready. Let me give you a look here what it looks like. Here is the seed pod. When you break it open, it's little tiny seeds, and there are, I would have to say, probably thousands of them. Well, definitely hundreds, probably over 1,000. So one thing I noticed is the kale is coming back to life. These are the plants that finished seeding and they're actually making new leaves. So that's kind of cool. Gonna have some kale leaves for the summer while waiting for the seeds to sprout in the fall. Down here next to the bed are pots with peppers. Peppers looking very healthy here. This one is looking okay. I think something's eating it. And of course the carrot flowers. So next bed over is the tomato bed. These tomatoes were just trellised today. The beds were semi-weeded. This is a heirloom variety. That's all I know. And these tomatoes are, it just said medium-sized tomatoes when I bought it, so we'll see what comes of that. Let me come in and show you the tomatoes. So it's making these little tomatoes. Well, they're little for now, anyway. Like I said, I trellised them and I took off the first couple of leaves here. It's better that the leaves don't touch the ground because disease can spread and harm the tomatoes. So you don't really want leaves in contact with the soil. Once they're big enough anyway. If they're still young, then you can leave them, but they're already big enough. So I took the leaves off. So this bed over is mostly eggplants. except for this tomato transplant. And some salad greens here. This one is going to flower. It has bolted because it's been pretty hot, of course. And a couple of eggplants. There's one here. There's one here. There's one here. And a pepper plant. Another pepper plant that survived. Looking forward to some peppers. So you're going to see a lot of these here. This is amaranth, and it's actually being used for its leaves as like a spinach. So Malabar spinach in this garden and the amaranth are being harvested all along the fence. Here you see the salad greens have bolted, and it looks like there's going to be a lot of seeds for the fall. More peppers down here, along with the amaranth and chamomile. Whole bunch of chamomile. So the chamomile flower, it looks similar to this flower, but you can see by the leaves, these are kind of longer and broader leaves. And if I go back to the chamomile, you can see the leaves are very thin. They look more like dill if I had to compare it. And after the peppers and some salad greens and chamomile and amaranth, you have Malabar spinach planted all along here, which again, another spinach. This trellis bed here has bitter melon, which is beginning to climb. So last year this thing was absolutely covered in sugar snaps, which are here. They're probably almost done by now. I'm just letting whatever sugar snaps are left, I'm letting them go to, letting the pods mature so I can harvest the seeds for possibly the fall, if not next season. So this bed, the plan was for bitter melon along with long bean, just like last year, but apparently the long bean didn't sprout, so all you have is the bitter melon. It'll eventually take over as the temperatures continue to stay hot, but it does look a little empty. I was hoping more coverage. Maybe we can plant something here later on in the season, possibly some kind of a lettuce or something, as the bitter melon can provide shade, as the lettuce likes cooler temperatures. The next bed over is another tomato bed with amaranth everywhere as a ground cover at this point. So it's very beneficial. The amaranth is edible, and it's providing shade to the soil, keeping temperatures kind of cool and reducing evaporation. And all of these tomatoes are plum tomatoes. They're going to be used for cooking mainly. And this one lone tomato here is a cherry tomato, purple cherry tomato. It just came up from last year and it was saved and it's going to produce. So coming over to the next bed, it's actually a raised mound which has eggplants, which are producing flowers already. Little purple eggplant flowers. And here is a mound of zucchini. So there's 3 areas of zucchini, and each one has 2 of them. And they are producing so much. Let me show you. So each plant has a few zucchinis already, if these make it past this point. Right now it looks like they've been pollinated already. If they continue to grow, then it'll be full-blown large zucchinis, or at least whenever they're picked. Another thing I noticed here are pests No damage yet, but it's just a matter of time. You can see the eggs here. So what you really want to do is just scrape them off. And let me show you some more of the zucchini. Plenty of zucchini here. So moving on to the next bed. Next to the zucchini plants is mostly Malabar spinach with amaranth. And I did plant, I think it was early May, I did plant some loose leaf lettuce mix, and some of them actually came up. They don't look too good. It's obviously pretty hot for them at this time of the year. Temperatures in the mid to upper 80s right now, and they're not really made for those kind of temperatures. Well, it's okay. If they bolt, then there's more seeds. Next bed over, not much going on here. I have plans for this bed. Possibly more zucchini coming to this bed, because eventually these zucchini are going to be spent, probably another month, a month and a half, and maybe I can plant some more zucchini here to replace those for the fall. This was the garlic bed. You see all the salad greens have bolted already, and they're going to be producing seed shortly. The garlic was picked. It's not very large. This next trellis bed, it has eggplants. There's 4 eggplants here. There's also long bean. A few long beans came up. See right here. And cucumbers. I had to trellis this one because it was on the ground. So this one is going to be climbing. This one is climbing already. And the plan is for the long bean to eventually climb the trellis. You can see the sugar snaps didn't make it too high up this year because I think the summer temperatures kind of kicked in. There was really not much of a transition. The end of spring was kind of cool, and early summer kicked in very fast. So it didn't have a chance to climb all the way up like last season. So along the fence, this is the strawberry patch. Not much in production there. It's done. Made some strawberries last month. They were picked, delicious. That's it. It's going to produce again, most likely in the fall or September. Again, there's more amaranth here. Nice large comfrey plant. Compost. The finished compost. Next year's compost, and the compost pile that's brewing. So in this bed is a lot of long bean. Maybe a new trellis will have to be set up here for that long bean. We'll see what happens. Let me take you to the back end of the garden, past this comfrey plant. The asparagus. The asparagus looks pretty healthy in its first year. Here's the stalk. So of course it's going to be left alone for probably another 2 years, and then it will start to be picked when the root is mature enough. It can afford for a couple of asparagus stems to be picked off. And this last bed here in the back, there's a tomato with some bok choy, more amaranth. There were potatoes here. The bushes weren't very large. Did not think there was going to be much of a harvest, but probably a dozen potatoes of good medium size, a few large, a couple of small like you see here were picked. Very surprising. Did not think it was going to be such a good harvest. And there's a little bit more a potato plant left here, and that's going to be harvested sooner or later. Most likely sooner. This trellis, which was an old bed frame, has cucumber running up the trellis. So these cucumbers have attached and they're running up. These cucumbers here, they were on the floor, so they look a little beat up, but I'm sure they're going to recover in a few days and weeks to come. And there's one lone cucumber running up a single pole here, single bamboo pole. Let me show you some cucumber flowers. So this is going to be a cucumber, looks like. This flower looks to be done. It was pollinated and it's growing, and there's plenty of flowers everywhere. So that's the garden for this month, this early summer. Even though the temperatures are midsummer like, the season has just begun. All the summer plants are doing very well, producing already. I'm gonna start harvesting soon, most likely next week the harvest will begin. So that will be around 4th of July is when the harvesting begins for the summer vegetables. So as always, like, share, subscribe, leave comments. See you guys in the next update.